So this test track, just to briefly explain how the electrical side works, it's divided into two electrical sections, the back track and the front track, and each one has a loop on it as well. The right hand loop is on the back track section and the left hand loop is on the front track section. And then what I've done is I've isolated them with insulated sleepers, and then I've got this Tech 2 2800 controller with two controllers on it, two cab controls on it. So all that happens is, just as long as I've got them both going in the same direction, same throttle setting, everything should be fine. And all my diesel locomotives, no problem at all, because there are pickups on each bogie and it's not a problem when you go over the insulated join. The problem I've got is with the Rivarossi locomotives. Let's have a quick look at the electrical pickup on that side of it. So the pickup on the Rivarossi is a bit of a nuisance, because you have the pickups on this side on the front unit, and the pickups on the other side are on the rear unit, and they're also divided onto the front pony truck and onto the rear trailing bogie as well. Now the problem there is, the other brilliant thing they've managed to do is they put a traction tyre on the pickup, the rear pickup wheel. They're only picking up on 2 wheels out of each of those 6 sets. So you've got basically front, right, rear, left. So as I bridge the join, when the insulated joiner reaches that point there between the two, right here between the 2 units, I haven't got a continual circuit, so the locomotive stalls and dies. So what I've done is I've made some additional pickups. I'll have a look at those now. Okay, this looks a little bit crude, but bear in mind you're zoomed in here. What I've done is, if you can just see on the wheels there, you can see the additional pickup strips, and they're actually from the knuckle centering, the shank centering spring of a KD coupler. Basically just fold the arms out and they're secured down on the top side of the truck, and then there's a wire connection, and what I've done here is I've wired it to the there's just a little piece of lead there that I've screwed into the tender chassis, both sides, and then on the front side I've drilled a hole through there from the front and a hole through there on the front side as well. And the wiring, let's have a look at that on the locomotive. So if you're looking at the locomotive, it's actually nicely engineered, sort of a bit like an Italian sports car really. The mechanical side seems to be quite good. You've got a can motor and flywheel, but it's the electrical side that lets it down. So if you just look here, you can see on each of those pickup points on the motor, the contact points on the motor, what am I saying, the terminals on the motor, I've run an additional lead rearwards, and I've made them too long deliberately, and I've just folded the loop around the area that goes under the rear half of the boiler. And then poking out from the rear here, we've got the 2 wires. These are still to be painted, but at least you can get to see what's going on here. And each one of those has got soldered onto the end a track pin. You know, one of the sort of, when you're hand laying tracks, those are the little pins you get. And the idea being is that those connect into the little holes at the front end of the tender. So let's hook it all up and see what happens when we run around the layout. Right, so there we are. Crikey, the old macro lens on the iPad isn't too bad, is it? That's pretty well magnified, that. So there they are pushed in. Now you can imagine if I paint those up, they'll be quite happily disguised as the water pipe from the tender to the locomotive, and pushed in, and they seem to be fairly firm. So let's give her a test run around the layout. Here she comes around now. And just to help you out, where that red pin is where the insulated track joiners are, and normally right there is where it would stall. But there, that sailed over seamlessly, which is what we'd all like to happen, but I'm afraid to say with the average Rivarossi that's just not going to be the case. So I'm going to chalk that one up as a minor success, I think.